the line of scrimmage, and he's going to take himself out of the ball game. Dennis Moore will trot on.
It's going to be a little bit of blow to their offense. You see Dennis Moore trotting off there. Looks like he hurt his shoulder or something. He's their fastest receiver, and they need him at this time of the game.
Coleman comes in. Tom Coleman, a sophomore from Huntington Beach, California, who lettered both in football and baseball as a freshman. He hit about 378 in the baseball team. Air Force is 1 of 9 on third down conversions, and that's what they have now at third down. Loudon on the option, and he's not going to get the first down, but they'll go to a fourth down. Line of scrimmage now the 25-yard line. Richard Mello, who's from Honolulu, a junior, making the stop for New Mexico. So it's fourth down, still 2, maybe 3 yards, and Air Force is going to ask for another timeout. They have 1 remaining with 4:51 left in the game. So the press box shadow starting to descend over the field. The beautiful Rocky Mountains as a backdrop. We'll be back. There's the vital statistics in this game. 4:51 left. Air Force has a fourth down, 3 yards to go. Loudon has returned to the huddle. And this is their last gasp effort here. Dennis Moore, by the way, is checked back in. He's split to the top. Kirby now in. Nope, that's Tom Coleman. Fourth down. Loudon on the option. He pitches. It's fumbled. And I think New Mexico has it. They do. Jody Simmons, the intended man for the pitch. But the Lobos come up with it. Jimmy Carter from Reagan High School in Austin, Texas. They think he's the best in the WAC.
The wishbone offense is a high-risk offense. There's a lot of fumbles that happen, and you can see the pitch is a little bit behind Jody Simmons, but catchable. Jody Simmons probably should have had that. He took his eye off it, caused the fumble, big turnover.
They've had some turnovers. The man shaken up now is Ricard Smith, a very fine senior center from Enid, Oklahoma. They think he is as good as anybody in the conference, a tough guy. They list him at 210, but he weighs more like 235 pounds. And so they'll look him over. Ricard Smith, the man that backs him up, is Don Oberdick from Richardson, Texas, a sophomore, who they think could be starting in other years. But the Air Force program really picking up. The last time they went to a bowl game was 1971. Prior to that, they played in the Cotton Bowl and the Gator Bowl. And now they're starting to be very, very competitive once again. Final score in this game, Herschel Walker had a brilliant day, carried the ball 39 times for over, amazing, what was it, over 200
yards.
There it is, 215 yards and 1 touchdown. USC, I can't get over they shut out Oklahoma last week.
Really remarkable. They have a pretty good wishbone, Oklahoma does.
Todd Williamson now is coming at quarterback for New Mexico. And so Osborne will leave a job well done. In fact, if you look at Osborne's stats, and we're going to select him as our MVP at New Mexico, Osborne gained 92 yards rushing, threw for 149 yards, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns passing, and he caught 1 touchdown pass. He ran for another one. I think that was a good choice, don't you?
I don't think you could have asked for a quarterback to do more.
Tulsa upsetting Kansas. That was played in Lawrence. And Texas Tech upset Jackie Sherrill.
So people at Texas A&M are not going to be too happy.
And that game was carried on CBS, as was the Kansas-Tulsa game.
You played against Tulsa, didn't you, when you were at Wichita State?
Well, we don't talk about that. Willie Terrell from Tallahassee, Florida, a freshman, has come in as a running back. And also Montez Love has come in at a fullback spot.
False start, New Mexico.
So the new quarterback, and they have some problems mechanically. So Terrell, Love, and Williamson in the backfield. Love from El Paso. Played quite a bit last year as the number 2 rusher for this team. He is number 22. Second down, 15 after the penalty. A little reverse action this time by Williamson, and he's thrown for a loss. Charlie Heath back there. Navy comes here next week for Air Force. Of course, that Commander's Trophy is always up for grabs between Army, Navy, and Air Force. Williamson did that last week. I should say 2 weeks ago. They were off last week.
They're impressed with him. The New Mexico people tell me he's a very good quarterback. They like him and their third quarterback, Buddy Funk.
Played for his dad at Buena High School in Sierra Vista, Arizona. Third down, 16 yards to go. Williamson giving up the middle. Ball is fumbled, and Air Force has it. Jumping out of that pile-up, the Falcons, and the turnover, giving the ball to Air Force at the 22-yard line. So with 3:18, Kelly was the man who came up with it for Air Force. Steve Kelly, a nose guard, a junior from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. From the 22, Loudon. Well, they'd like to get on the board. They've been frustrated here in the last couple of times. 49-31 our score. Foster, Sundquist in the backfield along with Mike Brown, and we're going to have an illegal procedure against Air Force. That'll back it up 5 yards. It's a beautiful place here in the Rocky Mountain area. 10 miles north of Colorado Springs, Interstate 25, not too far away, headed north to Denver. The trees starting to turn here. Pikes Peak in the background, about 14,000 plus. Not too bad an assignment, huh?
I can handle 20 or 30 years of this.
First and 15. Loudon wanting to throw the ball. Wide open is going to be Kirby. Did he get it? He did. What a catch by Kirby. At the 2-yard line, Julius Johnson defending first and goal, Air Force.
One more time, number 24, Julius Johnson had Mike Kirby covered one-on-one. He ran an out and up pattern. Now Johnson bid on the out. You see Loudon getting rid of the ball. Kirby makes a nice catch and taps a foot in to make the reception, Gary.
Very good acrobatic play by Kirby. First and goal to 2. Up the middle goes Sundquist, and he's just short of the goal line. They'll bring up second and goal there. You can see Overdick, number 51, now in there in place of Ricard Smith at the center spot. Also Mark Melcher, a sophomore from Anaheim, California, at the left guard. They're going again without a huddle. Second and goal at the 1. Loudon giving this time to Sundquist. He's in, touchdown. However, there's a penalty flag. A couple of them. Now, they did not huddle that time, Pat. Now, remember, they didn't do that earlier and they had some problems.
Offsides, New Mexico.
Offside, they'll refuse that. Touchdown, Air Force. Ted Sundquist, out of Houston, man who led him in rushing as a freshman. Came out, started out so effectively last year, and then he was hurt in the first game. Had to undergo knee surgery, and they have good depth at that fullback spot. Kirshner along with Sundquist. They're going to go for 2, I believe. 49-37. Loudon has Kirby to the bottom. And he just set that touchdown up with a fine catch to the 2. Dennis Moore split to the top. Loudon throwing to Moore. Can't get to it. Defending on the play was Darren Jenkins, sophomore from Long Beach, California.
We get a nice view here of Ted Sundquist, the number 38, their fullback, scoring his second touchdown of the day here. Just goes right over the left side, over Mark Melcher and Ricard Smith again, in the end zone for the score.
49-37. Well, if you want a high-scoring game, this has been it today.
It's probably a pretty good chance we're going to see an onside kick here.
At 2:47, you're ready for that, huh? Pavlich has come out now instead of Mateos, who's been kicking off. So that would be a further indication that you're right.
Yeah, that's why I'm the expert.
That's exactly right. Well, being a Rhodes Scholar, I expect more of that all the time. Pavlich, when he came out, he set the kicking tee at the 45. He got a little confused there. Now he'll back it up to the 40. And they are trying to look at this, how they've loaded up for this onside kick. Coming up in the front, they've got Todd Williamson, one of the men on the front line for New Mexico. They want the men with good hands. And the bounce, it's a beautiful kick, but I think New Mexico got it, or did they? It looks like it was picked up by Hunt of New Mexico. And so New Mexico will have the football. The executive producer of NCAA Sports is Kevin O'Malley, and today's coverage of the University of New Mexico Air Force game was produced by Jim Silman, directed by Larry Cavallino, associate producer Bob Rowe, field technical manager John Kruer, technical director Dixon Williams, and audio Steve Chapman, and our broadcast associate from BC, Pierce O'Neill. And thanks to our spotter Steve Bear and our statistician Roger Riley. Osborne has now come back into quarterback. Williamson in there for a brief moment, and here comes Osborne. And Osborne, who's one of our MVPs, continues to pile up impressive statistics. That'll move the ball to the 41 of Air Force, Pichniak. And that will give Osborne pretty close to 100 yards on the day. In fact, it does. He now has 108 yards on 15 carries, thrown for 149. He's done it all today. What a performance by this man from Hurst, Texas. Carter and Johnson in the backfield. First down. This is Carter, and he's not going to get the corner turned, and that'll stop the clock with 2:14. Chris Funk making the stop for the Falcons. And no gain on the play. Maybe a yard loss. Let's make it 2nd and 11. Didn't hear a lot about Osborne. He alternated last year with Roman Gabriel's son, Robin Gabriel. But he's come on his own, and he has that job nailed down now.
Although we thought he was going to have the rest of the afternoon off a few minutes ago, but they put it back in the game to kind of secure the win.
I guess so. 4-0 New Mexico will be. Straight ahead comes Osborne. Inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Conda Sullivan making the tackle as we approach 2 minutes left in this game.
New Mexico's offense has been very impressive in a number of ways. We mentioned David Osborne doing it all this afternoon, but the receivers, Duran Williams and Keith McGee, have been superb, not only catching the ball, but blocking as well. And John Lane, their tight end, has done a very nice job. So their skill position people have done a terrific job, and Coach Joe Morrison, who you see there, deserves an awful lot of credit.
Next week, New Mexico, big game in the WAC. They return home to play host to Brigham Young. This is Carter again. I'm surprised they're using all these guys, Carter and Johnson and Osborne. They have this win nailed down with 1:28. What a day they've had. All three backs, Osborne, Carter, and Johnson, have rushed for over 100 yards. Going to have a timeout right now. Air Force will call the timeout with 1:26 left in this game. We'll be in a few moments announcing the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player. I think we've already given you a subtle hint who will be with New Mexico. And Air Force now has one timeout remaining, New Mexico with 2.
You know, you mentioned that offensive line and David Osborne of New Mexico. Give that offensive line some more credit, too, because they're not, New Mexico's offensive line is not a big group, not a large group, but their coaching staff is installed to veer off and to take advantage of the quickness that offensive line has and their offensive backs, to give them just the slightest crease where those backs can pop into the secondary. And boy, they can give you some problems then.
An offensive line in New Mexico, they weren't sure what they had at the start of the year. They're led by Zamprelli, and along with Elliott. Session, the right guard or right tackle, along with Eights. They didn't know whether he'd be academically eligible. And so they were pleasantly surprised when that all worked out. 4th down, Ferguson will kick the football. Air Force calling for the timeout. I'd like to get a big return on this one. However, they don't have anybody drop back right now. They're going to put a big rush on. Ferguson has had a kind of a scary day, to say the least. Bad snap, but he got it underway very high. He's going to hit, go in for the touchback. Ferguson had one snapped over his head. He was rushed, got an 8-yard kick, but he settled down, as did this New Mexico team.
He's been hit a couple times. I think he might be visiting the training room tomorrow.
That's right. He was roughed once. I forgot that. Seems like an awful lot has happened today, Pat.
It certainly has. And remember, those punters, that's supposed to be a non-contact position. He didn't think that he was going to have this happen to him when he accepted that scholarship.
Well, Loudon will come in, and Air Force is going to try to execute another scoring drive with 1:19 left in this game. Moore split out. Coleman goes out. Sundquist and Brown. and Foster, the running backs. Loudon back. Up to Brown. 20, 25, 30. First down out to the 33-yard line. Jimmy Carter, see how quick and fast he is coming back from that defensive end spot over to make the tackle. So the first down, they stop the clock to move the sticks. Line of scrimmage, the 32-yard line. 1:09 left in this game. Give to Sundquist, and Sundquist to the 39-yard line. Gain of 5, maybe 6, and they're going to go without a huddle. They're ready to go again. John Ligan in there now, a junior at tackle from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
This Air Force team is so impressive. They just keep coming right after them.
On a second down, Loudon keeping this time, and Loudon has a first down, and he gets out of bounds and stops the clock with 43 seconds. Mello over to make the stop. I don't know how you can say it any differently, except I think Air Force thinks that this is the move for the go-ahead winning touchdown, the way they're playing right now.
Well, that's how the game should be played, and if we believe that this game builds character as it's supposed to, these young men have an awful lot of that.
49-37, New Mexico to win this one, but Air Force trying to closen it up a little bit. Is that a word, closen it up?
I'll have to check my dictionary for that one, Gary.
Well, I knew that you were a major in English and literature and studied at Oxford, and I've enjoyed being corrected this season. Kirby and Coleman in at wide receivers. Loudon back to throw, intended for Foster. That'll stop the clock with 30 seconds. Brings up 2nd and 10. You know, Ken Hatfield talked about Air Force. He says, I think we have a perfect schedule. We play the WAC. We get to play Notre Dame, then the Army-Navy series. He's really excited about it.
What do you call that, the Commander-in-Chief's trophy?
That's right, and if they end up in a tie, the academy that had it that year retains it. Navy winning it last year. George Welch, of course, had Navy really rolling. They have a new coach there. Next week, it's Navy here against the Air Force. 30 seconds left. 2nd and 10. And that's going to be ruled out of bounds. Jody Simmons didn't have enough room over there. It's 3rd and 10. Pat, statistically, here's one of the most interesting ones, too, is that Michael Johnson had 139 yards for the day. Osborne, 112 yards for the day. And Carter, 105. All three, the quarterback and the 2 running backs off of the veer, over 100 yards.
Remarkable balance. And that's what a veer attack and a wishbone attack can do, is put people who quick backs in a position to gain big yardage.
24 seconds left. 3rd and 10. Loudon still throwing again. Remarkable catch by Kirby. And they're ready to go without a huddle. Mike Kirby making 2 very fine catches in this 4th quarter. First down inside the 30. Let's make it the 33-yard line. And they'll start the clock again with 19 seconds. Loudon throwing, that'll stop the clock. Kirby let it go, and with 15 seconds, the Cadets are still out there fighting. Air Force record will move to 2-3. Boy, New Mexico 4-0. They are in excellent position now. If BYU coming to Albuquerque next week, if they'd win that one, they would really have people trying to play catch-up against them.
Well, Ken Hatfield felt that this was a critical game for Air Force because they, unlike the rest of the WAC teams, they only play 7 conference games. So they felt that they had to win this one, so it's going to be tough catching up the rest of the way.
2nd down 10, 15 seconds left. Loudon. Kirby, the intended receiver, couldn't quite reach it. That was Darren Jenkins defending on the play with 11 seconds to go. In this game, New Mexico has 514 yards of total offense. Air Force, on the other hand, had 414.
That is absolutely remarkable against a very good New Mexico defense.
Almost 1,000 yards in offense today.
It's the 2nd week in a row we've seen some big offense.
Really have. Here comes Dennis Moore back in, out of Irving, Texas. He was out last year with a knee operation. He's been a surprise in the spring and one of the fastest players they have. Tom Coleman comes out of the ball game. 3rd and 10. Loudon under some pressure. Delivers. Caught by Brown with 6 seconds. That'll stop the clock with a first down. They're going to have to hurry. Mark Eastham made the stop for New Mexico. And so now from the 20-yard line, 6 seconds. Loudon back to throw, and they intentionally dropped that one to stop the clock. So with 3 seconds, this is the last play of this game. New Mexico is probably saying, hey, wait a minute, we've won this thing. You're making us play this right down to the last second. That defense out there's got to be a little bit tired.
Air Force wouldn't have it any other way.
There's Loudon bending over. He's gone all the way, and I really like this young man. We had a chance to visit with him. He's what, in computer science? Is that what he's studying?
Very impressive young man.
Kirby, Moore, now the wide receivers. Last play of the game. Loudon back, stepping up, throwing deep, intercepted. Darren Jenkins, and he's dropped, and that's the end of the game. Darren Jenkins returning that ball all the way out to the 25-yard line. New Mexico continues unbeaten. They are 4-0 as the score. New Mexico 49, Air Force 37. We'll be right back after a word from your local station.
This is CBS.
It's been a pleasure to be here at Air Force to see this wide open football game. And so the final score, 49-37, New Mexico defeating Air Force. NCAA football has been a presentation of CBS Sports.
Fly the friendly skies of United, where discount